So now let's start the program. Rabbanit Chamutal Shoval, accomplished teacher and scholar, and her family have spent the last year and a half here with us from Neve Daniel in Israel. We've been blessed to have the chance to learn from her, whether in the classrooms at the Kushner Academy or in the many talks and classes she has given across New Jersey and New York. Rabbanit Shoval brings a unique perspective and is truly an inspiration to us as a wife and sister of a soldier serving in the IDF, as the mother of her amazing girls, as a teacher, as a scholar, as a friend. We are honored to have her share a few words with us here tonight.
Wow, welcome everybody. I can't see you, but. So like Dala said, I'm here from Israel for 2 years. And 3 weeks ago, I was meeting a lot of my Israeli friends, teachers, shlichim. We had a conference in Newark, and I was really happy to see so many of my friends that I haven't seen since the beginning of the war. One of them, her name is Adar. She's younger, and I saw on social media that she got married recently. So when I met her, I gave her a hug, and I said, Adar, Mazel Tov. She started crying. And I said, what's wrong? You just got married, you're in Ocala. She said, yes, we traveled to Israel, back home to get married, and now we're back here. So I told her, so why are you crying? So she told me, where I teach very young kids, I teach Hebrew, and they don't want to upset the kids, so I can't speak about the war. So I told her, but why are you crying? So she said, yes, I just got married a month ago, but many years ago, I used to date this guy. His name was Avinatan, and he's in Gaza. He's one of the hostages, and I didn't know. And I told her, I'm so sorry, Adar, I didn't know. And I asked for his full name to daven for him. And she said to me, you know, I'm building my house. I'm building a new home, even though a little bit of my heart is still broken. So I gave her another hug, and I told her, Adar, do you know, everyone feels the same. We have to build, we have to live our lives, but our hearts are broken. And if I have to think of one word that kept going with me, that I kept thinking about in regards of this war, of this difficult situation, is home. This war is all about our homes. I feel like our national home was invaded and people lost their homes. Some of them lost their confidence of being home, and so many people left their homes, and we have hostages waiting to come home. So everything about this war is home-based, and many of us here are trying to connect to our home back in Israel. So many of us are going on missions and sending things. And one of my brothers told me, you know, it makes me so happy to get these wonderful letters decorated by kids. Keep sending them. He said, it reminds me of my kids back home. And I think mikveh is the base of a Jewish home. And when I read this parasha that we're about to read, Parashat Ki Tisa, I thought of the kiyol, the sink in the Mishkan. And I know most of you know the famous midrash that the kiyol was donated and made by the women. The women gave their mirrors in order to build the kiyol, the sink. And the midrash tells us that this kiyol came from the mirrors that the Jewish women were using in Egypt. When Am Yisrael was enslaved in Egypt, everyone were depressed, and the men were working so hard, there was no intimacy. All they wanted to do was come home after long days of work and go to sleep. And the women used these mirrors to create intimacy, to make sure that we still have kids, that we have a Jewish family, that we have continuity. They used these mirrors. So many years later, they decided to give them to the Mishkan, to make the kiyol, the sink, out of these mirrors, to remember how they saved a nation by saving each and everyone's home. The women made sure that their contribution to the Mishkan was based on the Jewish home. When our national home was severely hurt, almost 5 months ago, we came together. And tonight we're coming together to raise money for this incredible cause, to make sure that the Jewish home is secure. As women, we have the power to build homes, just like we had the power to build the Mishkan. And if you think about it, the water in the mikveh is a symbol of life, and it connects to the sink in the Mishkan, which was always a symbol of what women can do in this world. I want to share with you a story that I read on Facebook. I don't know these people, but I was so inspired that I said, I have to tell you this story. There's a guy called Yehoyada Sidon, and this guy is the commander of a unit. It's called Chativa 55, Unit 55, and he fought in Gaza for 5 months. And 5 weeks ago, he was in Khan Yunis with his troops. They were going from house to house, and when he entered one of the houses to make sure there are no terrorists in the house, he saw candlesticks. And he said, it doesn't belong here. I'll take it with me, and I'm going to try to find the owner. So after being released, Baruch Hashem, safe and sound, he called his father and he said, Abba, you have Facebook, I don't. Take a picture of the candlesticks and let's find the owner. And the father did. So the father posted it everywhere on Facebook. If you want to know which is the biggest and the funniest group in Israel, when you need anything, it's called Tzrichim Mashu. I need something. So this picture of the candlesticks went up on Facebook, and with the phone number of his father, Yehoyada's father. And one day, the phone rang. And this woman says, these are my candlesticks. I live in Kfar Aza, and I want to tell you what happened to me on that day. And the woman said, on October 7th, I got up in the morning, and the sirens were going on, and I went into the mamad, into the safe room, the shelter, and I hid there for hours. And that woman told him that her grandfather brought from Warsaw after the war menorahs and candlesticks, and she had this special collection, which was her family heritage, and she put them on the wall. And everyone who came into her house saw the candlesticks and the menorahs, and she would always tell the story, how her father brought them from Warsaw after the war. And she says on October 7th, I was in the mamad, hiding and praying and crying, and I heard people outside speaking in Arabic, and I didn't know what would happen to me. And then I started to hear drilling voices, and I thought, God forbid, they're trying to get into the mamad. But they weren't. They took off the walls the candlesticks and the menorahs. They actually had the time to drill it out, and they took the whole collection. And she said, finally, when the Chayalim came and they were saved, she and her family, Baruch Hashem, she said she came out to the living room, and there was nothing on the wall. And she said, all I wanted is to find one piece from this amazing collection that my father left me. And she hugged Yehoyada, the soldier, and she said, thank you. You brought back the candlestick, but you also brought back my father and this memory of our family, and I can't thank you enough. And I think that we're a little bit like these candlesticks from Gaza. Some things will go back to like they were, and we'll rebuild everything that we need to build. We'll keep building our homes. And I hope for that woman that she'll find all the menorahs and the candlesticks, but we have them. At least one pair of candlesticks, we have them. And this story made me so hopeful to know that we have the power to rebuild everything and this connection with Israel. Thank you, everybody.
My name is